would you say if I asked you a rhetorical question, hypothetically? And what is the meaning of life? Tell me yes or no. That was a trick question. Or was it? I don't know. I don't have all the answers now. How could I when I don't even have all the questions? Ironically, I complain that I do not get sarcasm. Isn't that just great? I want to be a positive person, but that seems so unlikely. Sometimes I think my mind is playing tricks on me, therefore I'm always right. People say that happiness is a choice, but I can never make up my mind. And I know I'm getting older, 'cause now I'm old enough to remember being younger. And now I reminisce about nostalgia, 'cause it used to be better. What if the good old days never happened, but we just don't remember? The future's running late. This trip down memory lane is taking us forever. I always hear people say that money can't buy happiness. But what if I paid them off? Maybe then they'd finally shut up about it. And nothing would make me happier. Don't bother to explain. It'll just go in one ear and right out the other. I don't know anything, but I think therefore I am, or well, at least I think so. I am so totally vain. I probably think this song is about me, even though it's vague. But enough about Carly Simon, let's talk about me.
Hello, everybody. Hello, and welcome to the Living Room Show. Give yourselves a round of applause for being here this evening. All right. It's Friday night. You know what that means. Other than obviously the beginning of Shabbos, it is time for the Living Room Show. Oh man, this is our Halloween special, which I just 25 seconds ago as I heard the opening to Thriller. If you are currently here in costume, you win. I don't know what you win, but I've decided that you win. A couple of quick announcements before we get started. This is stand-up comedy on Zoom, the premier way to view stand-up comedy as nature intended. We want to make this the best experience possible for our comics and you, our audience. If you are somewhere with not too much background noise, if you don't have loose speaker wires connected to your iPad right now, that's going to cause a lot of static, chaotic, go ahead and unmute yourselves. We want to hear your awesome laughter. It really helps us feel like we are truly in a comedy club or small coffee shop together. But if you do have a dog barking in the background, or if you live next to a Harley Davidson convention, anything causing lots of background sound, at least turn your cameras on. Let us see your beautiful smiling faces, especially you, Ron and Laura, in your always the dark room that occasionally will get bright for a moment and then get dark again. And I never understand what's fully happening in that room, but you're here every week and we love you. We're so happy that you are here. Next announcement, we suggest watching this show in speaker view. If any of our new audience members here don't know what that means, and you've never used Zoom in the last 4+ years, go ahead and hit that button in the upper right corner so that you will see this in speaker view, or swipe over if you're on an iPhone or an iPad. That gets you over to speaker view, I believe, as well. Next announcement, this is a free stand-up comedy show, but if you want to show the comics some love, if you want to make it so we can keep bringing these comics back week after week, you can send us some tips. You can do that by using the email livingroomcomedy at Venmo, PayPal, and Zelle. We are also on Cash App. You can just use $ Aaron Kominos-Smith. That's my name, all one word, no dashes. Also the way the good Lord intended. Just how stand-up comedy was intended to be on Zoom. I believe the good Lord. All Jews call him or it or that or they the good Lord. Wow, that was a fun way to awkwardly get us started right now. We're going to have an amazing time tonight. I am so excited for your MC of this show. She is the co-producer of this show. Most importantly, we have the same virtual background with this brick wall, so you know we are professional. Let's hear right now for the amazing and talented Carrie Gravenson, everybody!
Hello! As you can see, I have grown a mustache. This is the best part of the mustache. Do you see this? Huh?
Wow.
Guys, it's a Zoom filter. Do you want me to turn it off? Is it distracting or am I too sexy? Are people attracted to me? All right, I'm going to turn it off. But this was my Halloween costume for this show. And now I have to figure out how to turn it off. Yes. Hello! How is everyone? Do we have anyone joining us for the very first time? Do we have any noobs? Raise your hand if you're a noob. Okay, it's just the regular club. Hello. We don't want new people in here anyway. No, I'm just kidding. We really want new people. That would be great. But happy Halloween, everyone. Does everyone have their costumes ready? Who has the best Halloween costume? No one is going in costume? Is it because you've been burned by going in costumes previously? Okay, I'm going to tell 4 very quick stories of Carrie's history with Halloween costumes. Have you guys seen Mean Girls?
Yes.
Okay, so there's a part in Mean Girls where the main character doesn't get the memo that Halloween for teenage girls is an excuse to dress really sexy. And she goes as a witch and she gets there and everyone else is sexed out, right? Okay, that was me. I've done that. I went as a zombie. Everyone else went as sexy things. Sexy cat, sexy bunny, sexy Donald Rumsfeld, whatever. And I went as a zombie and everyone else was like flirting with toys and I hid in the bathroom ashamed because I was a zombie. So then I was like, okay, I got this. Next Halloween, I'm going to dress sexy. My next Halloween was my freshman year in college, and I went as an 1800s French prostitute. Because I had, the body of an 18-year-old, and I had bought my first corset. And I was like, I'm going to wear this to the party. And we got there, and I did that thing that happened in Legally Blonde, where it wasn't a Halloween party. It was a party that took place in October, and I went dressed as an 1800s French prostitute in a red velvet corset. Now, everyone else who went in costume had costumes they could quickly take off. No one had elaborate costumes that they couldn't take off except for me. And I had to stand around and And I tried to do the thing in Legally Blonde where she just owns it. And she's just like, yeah, this is what I wear. And that was horrifying because I didn't normally wear that. And I would have blended had everyone else done sexy costumes like they did the previous year. So then I was like, okay, you know what? No costumes. I am going to just wing it from now on. And I'm not going to overplan this. I'm not going to overthink it. One Halloween as an adult, I think I was 22. I was after work. I didn't bring anything with me. I got there. Everybody was in hilarious costumes. I don't know what to do. I need something. I go to the kitchen. My friend is hosting this party. I go to the kitchen. I grab a fork and I see a roll of duct tape and I stick the fork on my forehead. And when people say, "You want to do the Aaron?" Ask me what I am for Halloween. What do you?
Oh, Carrie, what are you for Halloween?
I'm Forkhead, and I just acted like everyone should know what Forkhead is, and you're stupid for not knowing what Forkhead is. Forkhead. And so I went around this party dressed in like regular corporate casual clothes with a fork duct taped to my forehead. And I started telling people, I'm Forkhead. Why aren't you Forkhead? I still had more forks and more duct tape. So I ran around the party putting forks and duct tape on everyone else's foreheads so we could have a whole collection of Forkheads. So I sold it. You see what I'm saying? Like I sold the idea that you could just make up a costume on the spot. Thank you. Thank you for hold your applause. Yes, no. The next year, same host. And I'm imagining it's going to be the same sort of group of people. I went as, anyone want to guess what I went the year after Forkhead?
Spoonhead.
Spoonhead is a good guess. Spoonhead is a really good guess.
Forkhead.
No. I went as sexy Forkhead.
Corset.
I didn't wear the same corset. I had grown by then, but I wore a really cute low-cut dress. And then my mom was on the call. And then the best thing about corsets is that they're adjustable. You just pull the strings tighter or okay, never mind. So I went as sexy Forkhead, and when people were like, "What are you?" I was like, "Remember Forkhead from last year? Well, she's all grown up now. I'm sexy Forkhead. You could be sexy Forkhead too. I've got duct tape and so anyway. If you run out of ideas, y'all, you just have to sell it. You just have to sell it. Just put something crazy on your head. Look, I'm calculator head. I don't know. You just I have a real calculator by my computer. What? Sometimes you don't want to pick up your phone. It's too distracting. So those are four tales that give you the full spectrum of Carrie's Halloween costume going events.
Success.
The trick is to just dress regular and then really sexy. I think that is. I went to I dressed up as Krusty the Clown to go to. I'm a member of a cult called 90s Simpsons Trivia. We meet once a month in Brooklyn. It's fantastic. And I went as Krusty the Clown, and I lost to a baby dressed as Krusty the Clown. So like, I know it's not cool to hate babies, but like, some babies are just rude. It's a rude baby. You know what I mean? All right. Are you guys ready to get this show on the road? We have some amazing comics for you this evening. We're so excited to see you and get you pumped for the weekend. Aaron didn't mention it, but I enjoy the little emoji things. I think this is a way to engage if you have your sight and sound off. We like the little floaty emoji things. Thank you, Della. We love it. Lets us know you care. Like, do you care? And then you see that. You're like, oh, they care. It's great. That's all we need. It doesn't take much. But we are so excited to get this show rolling. Your first comedian coming to the stage. Give him a big round of applause. Andrew Steiner, everybody.
All right.
It's good to see you all in your living rooms. Yeah. So you guys heard that the police are rolling out this thing, and they're not only giving out parking tickets anymore, they're going to start giving parking bonus is. Pretty cool. So if your car is perfectly parallel to the sidewalk, the policeman has to give you a shiatsu massage.
I like it.
Yeah. Speaking of the police, I once had a run-in with the police, but I don't. I'm like on the right side of the law these days. Like, did you guys know that if you order delivery from Whole Foods, you can return any 3 items and they let you keep them? You just have to leave a reason why you're returning them. So like, for example, the other day I returned some maple syrup from Vermont and I wrote as the reason it had a faint whiff of New Hampshire. Pretty cool. Pretty cool. But yeah, one time I did get in trouble for stealing from Whole Foods. I was doing a job where I was a butler for people in the city, and I basically had to, pick up their dry cleaning and their pharmacy stuff, and then I would go shopping for them, usually at Whole Foods. And one day I decided, okay, I'm going to put a piece of a tray of sushi at the bottom of the cart. I'm spending like a few $100, so they're not going to check the cart, and it worked. And I can convince myself of anything, really. I can rationalize anything. Like that first time I'm like, just a harmless little thing I'm doing. And then a couple weeks after that, I added a whole tray of smoked salmon. I added some Everyone deserves to eat well. Good food is a human right. And then a few weeks after that, I was $200 every time worth of food. And I was like, you are the Karl Marx of your generation. You are going to start the revolution. And then I kept stealing. I kept stealing basically a few $100s worth of food. I'd pay for like $20 worth of food with my food stamps, and then I would hide stealing underneath that. And it went on for quite a while. And then I got a different job. I wasn't even working that job. I was producing this police officer's podcast. And one day, this guy came in. His name was Sergeant Joseph Smith. And he was kind of an intense dude. He was telling all these stories on the podcast about how he killed a bunch of criminals in the 70s, but they were justified because the judge ruled it that it was like a legal kill because they done something terrible, like jaywalking aggressively or something. Yeah. So yeah, and this guy after the podcast, he was like, "Here's my business card. You never know." And I took it. I thought I'd never use this, but come a few weeks later, I got arrested at stealing from Whole Foods, and they took me into the station, and I was sitting in the cell. It was dehumanizing, and eventually they were like, "You got one call." So I realized I had his phone, his business card on me, so I called him up, and he was like, "Hello, who is this?" And I'm like, "It's Andrew from the podcast. Do you remember me?" He's like, "Yeah, what do you want?" And I've been arrested. He said, "For what?" I said, "Stealing." He said, "What'd you steal?" I said, "A lot of kombucha." And I'll be right over. In like 10 minutes, he screeched into the parking lot. He pulled in there like he owned the police station. They knew who he was. They let me go immediately, no bail, nothing. And then we start driving north. I told him, "Hey, I live south." He's like, "I got to show you something." We go up to Brewster, New York, in the middle of nowhere. He's like, "This is where it happened." I said, "What?" He said, "I got abducted." I said, "By aliens?" He said, "No, by Led Zeppelin." Was by aliens. And he starts telling me this crazy story. He's like, "I was taken into the spaceship. They beamed me up. I was drinking a 6-pack by myself. They take me there to the edge of the galaxy. These mushroom bodies floating in a liquid medium, communicating with me telepathically. They start using their robot to give me a back massage. It felt good. I never been touched before, so it felt amazing." And then he says, "They told me that kombucha is a mind. They're a race of aliens that are controlling the human race through their gut bacteria." And I was like, How do you know they weren't lying to you? And he said, because anyone who can make me feel like that in my shoulders is a friend to be trouble. And that's why I don't steal from Whole Foods anymore. That's that story. Let's see. My mom used to work for the IRS. She was a tax auditor. So she'd be on the road for weeks, like hunting tax evaders, and I really missed her. So one year, before she had a chance to do her taxes, I did them very wrong. So she would have to get lost. And that was the closest thing to working back then. Whatever. I made her income like $18 million, and I didn't set a check. I was like 9 years old, so I told her, so it looked like she was on drugs. And of course, they didn't send her to audit herself, but it did work in that she had to be there when her boss came to her house and threatened to fire her. And I felt so bad that when she went back to work, I made her a cake. Of course, I forgot the eggs. So basically, it was a brick of white powder covered in her bus downtown. Oh, no. And she was in a meeting, but I served her boss a slice, and she almost got fired again. So, all right, I'll leave you on one more little story. My first exposure to stand-up comedy, I've been doing this like 12 years now, but my first exposure was when I saw my dad do it at an open mic when I was 6 years old, and he had this joke where he'd unsheath a machete, right? And next to him was an effigy of me. And next to the effigy was a birthday cake, and he'd make like he was gonna slash the doll of me, but then he went into the birthday cake, and he slashed the birthday cake up into pieces and went everywhere, and then he'd take a slice in his hand and he'd smash it into the doll's face. I know. And he didn't warn me or anything. He didn't tell me that was his act. And I'm just sitting there and I freak out. I run on stage, I grab the machete, and I'm about to like hack him in the leg. And then I thought, you know what would be funnier than that? If I took some cake and I shoved it in his face. And, the crowd loved it. And after that, I was hooked. On cake violence. Comedy too, also comedy. It's kind of crazy how quickly luxuries turn into necessities. Like until last week, I had never used a bidet, but now I can't brush my teeth without one. Doesn't feel right. No. Anyway, that was my set. Thank you all for listening.
Give it up for Andrew, everybody.
He is.
Want to hear more about that bidet? Just kidding. That's creepy. I used to work for Whole Foods Market back in the day, and we were told to let people shoplift. It's not worth it. Just let them have it. I can't with your cookie stealing, and it's fine. And like nothing, like it was my job. I wasn't really supposed to use the ovens, but I could place the frozen balls of cookies on the sheet before they went in the oven, right? And then putting it in the oven was someone else's job. And I was broke and in college, and I realized that I could steal frozen balls of cookie dough and eat them later. And that's what got me through the day. I had to eat them in the store. If you left the store with it, you were stealing. If you ate it quietly in the walk-in refrigerator, then you were just, what was my excuse? I was testing the product. I was quality assurance. I got to make sure this frozen ball of cookie dough is delicious. All right, you guys ready to keep the show rocking and rolling, as Aaron says? All right, this next comedian, you can see her in Suffern, New York on November 16th at the Rhino Club. I think it's pronounced Rhino and not Reno. I don't know. You guys give a big round of applause for Frankie Mayone.
Thank you, Carrie.
Oh my God, I can relate to your cookie story. When I used to work at McDonald's, I would take the frozen cookies and put them in, they were already cooked though, and I put them in my pocket and then they would warm up and then you could just eat them when they defrosted. So
nice.
good to know someone else did that as well. So I hate when people say that they treat their dogs like their family. I just don't think that's true, because nobody treats their family that good. Nobody does. I think they should start changing the way that we name hurricanes. I think we're just ruining too many people's names. They have to live with that their whole life. I think what we should start doing is having corporations or companies sponsor hurricanes. So they could, they get a little marketing and then they're responsible to like pay. Obviously, we can't afford to take care of natural disasters. But wouldn't it be great to have like a Costco sponsored hurricane?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Way better.
Yeah.
Way better. Or we have to just start using terrible. We have to start naming hurricanes after like terrible things like Exxon Mobil, Shell, diarrhea.
Yeah.
The runs.
The runs. Category 4, diarrhea. That's a good one. I know a lot of people don't like rules, but I think rules are important sometimes. Rules definitely sometimes allow us to have fun, which is what I tell my grandma every time we play Monopoly. She just doesn't learn. I scare very easily. I think I consider Hoarders to be a scary show. And not because I'm afraid of accumulating material items in a small space, but because I worry that I always think there's no way that that they're accumulating all those things and they're not getting some ghosts with it. And then there's just random ghosts in someone's house. They're like, this isn't where I died. Where am I? And then there's other ghosts there they don't know. It's very confusing. That would scare me. I also don't like haunted houses or haunted hayrides because I'm always worried there's going to be a real emergency and there's going to be no way to tell if it's real or if it's just like an Oscar-worthy performance. I also am suspicious of people who run haunted houses and warehouses because what better place to keep kidnapped people than in a haunted warehouse gimmick? Suspicious. I know that I'm looking at houses on Zillow too much that are way outside my budget because I'm starting to get targeted ads from Airbnb that are like, or when you're on vacation, is your hotel room your kitchen and your living room and your bedroom? Maybe you need an Airbnb house. And I'm like, girl, that's just my apartment. What do you mean my vacation home? What? That's just where I live all the time. You must think I have a real home. And it's because I'm looking at too many mansions on Zillow. That's why I'm just starting to confuse the targeted ads now since they won't give up. They really won't give up. Unfortunately, I think also that's why millennials, I went to a concert recently and it was like a very millennial concert and people were being really territorial about where they put their blanket and where they're standing. And I was like, what's going on here? And I just realized that I think for millennials, that's as close as we're going to get to owning real estate. And it really means a lot to us. That's all we got. Unfortunately, my first job ever was a pyramid scheme.
Oh no.
Yeah. I was in the Girl Scouts. Because what are the Girl Scouts if not an MLM, multi-level marketing company? They prey on vulnerable populations. They make you buy a lot of product that you're responsible to sell. And then do you get any money for selling those cookies? No. You know what they give you? Badges. What am I, a Pokemon trainer? You know what you can't do with badges? Pay for college. And they say, the money goes to programming. Okay, well, let me tell you about the programming I received. I went to Girl Scouts in Brooklyn, New York. We learned how to microwave marshmallows. I guess technically they did teach us how to start a fire.
Oh, God.
But I don't think that's the right way. I don't think that's the right way. I have a problem I want to tell you guys about. I'm trying to work on it. You guys might have this problem too. Sometimes I just leave my vegetables in the refrigerator for so long. Just office situation. You know, they're not getting out of there alive. This is their final resting place. I'm just keeping them comfortable now. And you know, because like the celery stalk, it's all droopy, like it's been on the morphine drip for days. And there's like a cauliflower that has bed sores, and I just keep rotating it, you know, hoping that they're going to heal. Every time I open the fridge, I just try not to make eye contact with the Make-A-Wish zucchini in there. Like, I'm so sorry, we're not going to Disneyland. John Cena's not visiting us. It's not happening. And then I feel bad because we spend so much time together. I feel like we bonded. So as I'm throwing them away, I'm doing a little eulogy over the trash. And then, of course, like the moment after, my phone buzzes and it's like, bing, DoorDash, do you need something? And I'm like, is nothing sacred? But yes, I do need something. Yeah, obviously I need something. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, the phones are definitely spying on us. I don't think that I don't know how we're gonna go back from here. They've crossed the line for me. I recently Googled a very specific protein powder, and 2 weeks later, they sent me a sample of that protein powder in the mail to my house.
Wow.
Yeah. For real, totally creepy. So I was like, that's it. I've had enough. I'm going to confront my phone. So I was like, stop listening to me. You're listening to me. Stop doing it. I'm going to like talk you out of this. And then my phone just sent me targeted ads exclusively for therapy apps for the next week. Okay. This is a toxic relationship. You're stalking me. You're not listening to my needs. And now you're gaslighting me. So that's what the phones are doing. But yeah, I've been Frankie. Thanks so much for having me, guys. Have a good rest of your night.
Give it up for Frankie. Yeah, I knew of the term gaslighting before gaslighting was a term because I had seen the original movie called Gaslight. Oh. Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
Yes.
Thank you. Because it became a thing, and I was like, I knew what that term was before it was cool. I used to be a tour guide, and I had a sassy 13-year-old girl, and she filled out the form in a way that I could tell she was lying, and I was like, "Are you lying?" And she was like, "No, I'm not lying." And I was like, "Are you lying about lying?" And she said, and I love this, she said, "I'm not lying, I'm gaslighting you." And I was like, "You're too young," but I mean, that is hilarious, but you're too young to be this adorable and such a sneaky little liar. So 0 points for you. Go home. I also have a traumatic Girl Scout story. I was a wee lass, and I grew up in New York City, like you, and I went to go join the Girl Scouts, and I was young enough. My age group was to be in the brownies, and there's the age rankings, right? And I got there, and they were like, "Oh, isn't she cute?" Unfortunately, the brownies are full up, but we don't want your kid to not be a Girl Scout, so we'll just put her in the juniors, which is one level up. So these girls had already been brownies the previous year. That was a click. And they were like, "Hello, juniors, this tiny girl is going to be joining you because there's no room in the brownies. Have fun." And I had already been bullied at school. I didn't need extracurricular bullying. Like, yeah, we're not doing this. We're taking karate instead. Thanks, Mom. But yeah, there was a year in my life when I was both in Girl Scouts and karate at the same time. That was a great year. And I ate those cookies. Damn it. and I looked adorable in the juniors. The juniors costume is adorable. I mean, you look cute when you're like a little kid dressed up like in the full thing. They have shirts and stuff. Yeah. And you had talked about ghost stories and hauntings. My boyfriend recently went on a trip to a warehouse, an ancient, creepy-looking warehouse, and it's an overnight trip. He gets there, and he says to the people who work in the warehouse, "Is this warehouse haunted?" And they were like, "No." And he's like, "Yes, it is. Look how old and cool it is." And they were like, "Oh, yeah. The elevator once chopped a guy's head off." And I was like, "No, it didn't. They made that up on the spot because you wanted it so badly." And he was like, "Where? Which elevator? This elevator? This like giant freight?" And they were like, "Yeah, man, that's where the guy got beheaded 100 years ago." And so he's like, "This is where I'm sleeping." And so he's like, he slept next to the freight elevator where it was obviously haunted. And I was like, if I were a ghost, are you going to haunt that guy? Are you going to haunt the guy that wants it that badly? Like, think about it. You're a headless ghost. You're haunting a warehouse. Some guy walks in. He's like, "Where's the ghost?" You're not going to haunt that guy. You're going to haunt the horny teens. You're not, there's rules to these things. You can't want it that badly. I've been a ghost, I'll tell you. I know who I'm haunting, and it's not going to be the guy who wants it. Make me work for it. All right. Speaking of working for it, you guys give it up one more time for Frankie, everybody. Thank you, Frankie. Our next comedian coming to the virtual stage. Give him a big round of applause. It's Paul Dagliolo.
It's okay. How's everybody doing? I know it's a lot of vowels. It's a lot. A lot of vowels in a row. Sorry with the delay. I feel like I just got Zoom meeting anxiety. I'll try my best not to say circle back this whole thing. If I don't say circle back, then I'm gonna expect some inroads to laughter. Sorry, I couldn't resist. But hello, everybody. Yes, I do have a big confusing Italian last name, Stagliolo. It can be difficult to say. The most anyone's ever messed it up was in Austin, Texas. The host asked me about 47 times, "How do you say your name?" I said, "Dagliolo." He goes, "Okay." And then he brought me up as Dan Diglio. So, Dagliolo's tough, but leave it to Austin, Texas to mess up Paul. What can you do? I don't mind being Italian American. Being Italian, it's one of the last races that you can make fun of racially. Just because it's funny. Yeah. You can actually pick on the stereotypes and people just laugh. And I think that's okay. I think it's healthy. It's because we don't care. That's why. We're too busy thinking of the team. We just don't have time to be offended. But it's okay. It happened to me at a woke Brooklyn party. Somebody was speaking very politely, in the very proper voice to everybody. And then they got to me and they said, "Dagliolo, what do you love your mother? Somebody get this guy a meatball sub." And I said, "Hey, man, I have a 401k. You don't have to talk to me that way." But it's okay. I digress. I'm not all Italian, though. I'm part Lebanese. Yes, 25% Lebanese. It's all on my nipples. Eyes appear. Very dark, but it's a clean show, please. What does it all mean, Italian and Lebanese? It just means that I am very sensitive and have a temper. So it's like a very mix that I've been trying to fix for a long time. It means if you cross me, I will stone you to death. But with mom's meatballs, you know what I mean? With mom's meatballs. So you said, "What about my family?"
Oh my God.
Look emaciated. You should eat something. Here's a meatball. I want to help people too. I can fix them. Last thing about, and then I'll move on from the background stuff. But one thing about Italian, I think I do need to speak up on. I don't claim a lot of the culture. I do disagree with some of the language, though, that's been hijacked. For example, gabagool. I know that word is thrown around so much, you might even think it's a slur. It's not. It's actually a slang term for capicola, which I don't know how this started because there's no B's or G's in capicola. So I don't know how gabagool started. It's not in the Italian language. I think it's some guy in Staten Island who had too much sodium in his throat. That he said it's gabagool, and that's what stuck. So I wanted to leave learning nothing else. You need to know your cold cuts. Very important. I appreciate you. Thank you. We will circle back with some more after, and it's a lot of fun. You guys are some of the first people I've spoken to today that or not my girlfriend. I live with my girlfriend. I don't know if anyone lives with their significant other. It has changed my goals in life. I definitely need to make enough money to afford a separate bathroom. That's for sure. There's matches in our phone. So that just changes. It does. One good thing is she does have a little dog, which I fell in love with this dog. It's an 8-pound Cavapoo. That's a poodle and a Cavalier, so it's quite small. I never had a dog growing up. Very cute. She's not here, or I would totally bomb my set and show her to you. But I would never compete with animals. She's great. I never had a dog growing up. I always thought dogs were there to protect you in case of a burglary or something. Not little Cinnamon. She's not going to protect us. If anything, she's going to check in and make sure that we have her back. She will give it like a and she'd roll over and check in to make sure that we were there to protect her 8-pound body. But also I got to thinking about it, and she is an emotional support dog. It's official. We definitely got it off Amazon, so it has to be official. I do think that she would help in case of a burglary, though. If you picture somebody, I could do the act out because you all see me on the screen. Somebody breaks into the screen or breaks into your home, even worse, and they go, "Everybody freeze!" But then they go, "Ooh, hey, puppy!" And then they pet the dog. I think that would help, Yeah. So good run interference. They would feel emotionally supported. They say, "All right, just give me the cash. You keep the laptop." Speaking of guns, I'm not a gun guy, but I do realize that I still have to work on myself because anytime I'm in a deli and I see a cop not looking at his gun, I think I could get that for sure. I wouldn't do anything with it, but it's just the idea. It's like they would catch you, but it's just this idea that I would have to turn into John Wick or something. Here's my rule, though, as someone who drives in New York City. I think it would be a good way to bridge the gap between civilian and police officer, and you can test them. If you steal a cop's gun and they don't catch you, you get to park wherever you want for 3 months. There you go. Too slow, Fitzy. I'll be on the median. See ya. And you can just park wherever you want. But hey, I digress. I'll probably never get voted for mayor. I do realize that I'm at the age now where I get asked, how rude of her, right, to ask if we're going to get married someday. But it has me thinking about it. And here's my thing. I'm not against marriage on paper, except for the fact that it is just paper. It's a government license. And I don't know what you think, but the government can't get anything right. We're going to get them involved in love. Doesn't make sense to me. I think it should expire every 10 years like a driver's license. That's what I think marriage should be. If you're unhappy, you just take a knee. Let the clock run out. At least leave you divorced. Yeah, all right. A couple married people not laughing but thinking. They're like, this could be, I don't want to spend all my money. We just amicably don't like each other anymore. No, I mean, hey, I think in traditional marriages, especially, I think it would be really good for men because sometimes men can get complacent. So I think you would see men around year 8 or 9, you would say, "Oh my God, Gary's really killing it. He just painted the fence. He's in shape. What's his secret?" The secret is his wife's in a contract year, and he still loves her. You know, so it would keep everybody sharp. I don't know. I guess maybe am I not a believer in love? I think I am. I don't know. I know for sure it might be time to start a family because I'm watching way too many serial killer documentaries. You guys have that problem? And what's your favorite? I must ask. Are you even American if you don't have a favorite? Okay, I'll go first. Mine's BTK. I don't like, again, you got to separate the artist from the work. I mean, he's a terrible guy, BTK. He used to torture this town in Kansas. Bind, torture, kill. That's a bad guy, the BTK. And he used to torture this town in Kansas for 30 years, and he would have got away with it, except he went away for 20 years, started leaving clues again, and with the new forensics, they caught him. And when they caught him, the woman got him to admit to every murder he ever committed. And she even asked, "Why did you come back?" And he stood up and he said, "I had kids to raise." You know, so that's how busy parents are, really. They don't even have, you know. And now his daughter's writing a book on what it's like to have her father be the BTK.
Okay.
And she has to answer honestly. You know, he had some problems, but you know, he never missed a scout meeting. He was like a great dad. So I hope that I could be that way. But I'll leave you with this. I'll leave you with this before I go. You think that I would be into marriage? My parents are coming up on 40 years married. This is true. We're going to have a big celebration. 40 years married, happily married, not thrilled. They're not thrilled about it. They're kind of like that old rock band. They kind of like that old rock band. They're like Slash and Axl. Like they'll still go on tour. They're kind of sick of each other's nonsense, you know. I'll keep shredding. You keep bringing the pension. Is that a good deal? We'll keep rocking out. Whatever works. I think they have it figured out though, because I go over there. I live in New York City, doing this sometimes in front of real people. And they live in the suburbs, and I go over there, and my dad sleeps in the basement on a recliner, like a psychopath, and my mom sleeps upstairs like a normal person. And I go over there. They're watching the same television show on 2 floors. I go, you guys like each other so much that you respect each other's personal space. I don't know. But they just cross paths like ships in the night. Like, can you believe they voted her off The Voice? I know. But you guys have been a lot of fun. Thanks for listening to my set. I've been Paul Dancarolo. Thank you so much.
Give it up for Dan Pablo. Give it up for Louis Lobstuflu. That was awesome. Yeah. Do they have separate bathrooms though? That's the question. They sleep separately. They don't watch.
So fun fact, we had a family of 4. My sister and I are out of the house. They just built a bathroom in the basement. So now it's 1 bathroom per person. Unbelievable.
Wow. Amazing. They'll be together forever. That's
Forever.
the secret. That's the secret. At least 2 sinks. I mean, come on. Yeah. I think that every dog is sort of an emotional support dog. Does anyone have a pet that is not their emotional support pet? You have a pet that you're like, I have a pet, it does nothing for me. Like in any way. Like maybe that's not, like I have a cat. This is my emotional support cat. Yeah. Wait, Brandon, you have a pet that does nothing for you? No emotional support? Nothing. You're like,
I emotionally support the cat.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah. So then there's a benefit, right. You're the hired help when you have a cat. That's true. I got out of the subway yesterday and I saw a dog running free on the sidewalk. And it was one of those tiny fluff dogs, I think like probably an 8-pound dog, really cute. And it was running down the sidewalk and there was a leash on it trailing behind it. And I was like, oh my God, somebody lost their dog. Oh no. And I don't want to touch someone else's dog, but I also want to rescue this dog. So I step on the leash because I'm a genius, right? So I step on the leash and the dog stops and I look around and I'm like, whose dog is this? Who lost their dog that I just saved? And way down the block, there's a teenager on a skateboard. And he goes, that's my dog. And I was like, well, come get your dog, because these are the streets of Brooklyn. Like, and you obviously have a leash. So I'm going to be a good person and hand you back your dog. And I went to pick up the leash, and it was so disgusting. I could not wash. It was gooey and sticky and slimy. And I already have kind of a hand washing thing. I could not wash my hands enough. I could not. I ate wings with knife and fork, you guys, because it was that nasty. And so I'm not saving your dog anymore. If I see a dog running free in the street and there's a leash on it, I don't know. Could be a kid on a skateboard with an attitude problem. You guys, I'm going to. I think I did a good thing. Yes, we're all on my side.
Yes.
Your dog. If the dog had escaped, someone would have been like, "Thank you for saving my dog. You're a good person."
Really, thank you for saving his dog.
Yes. Okay. And because he's an irresponsible dog owner, I'm a jerk. Nope. I'm going to put some links back in the chat window, and I'm going to thank our donors from last week. You guys, it was a little light. I'm going to tell you what. I'm sharing this screen right now.
Oh, crap.
These are the thank yous. As you can see, Evil Dave made it to fantastic level in his general donations. Gordon finally hit it to potato level, which we definitely appreciate it. Nobody hit sad clown level, and Dracula level is still empty. This was kind of a light week. We need to make our numbers for November. We need sponsors. If you would like to sponsor a show, send us an email. We will. It's remarkably inexpensive. and then Aaron will write a song about you. Email us to find out what that is. But we really do appreciate it. Evil Dave, you've once again not lived up to your evilness, and thank you so much for your donations, Gordon and Evil Dave. We really do appreciate it. And if you want to get to Aaron Writes a Song for You level, donate some money. The amounts that we recommend are $5 per person watching, $7 per person you spoke with today, and just a couple. Every little dollar helps. We really do appreciate it. And if you want to donate cash, I will give you Aaron's address, and you can go to his house wearing a scary clown costume and throw money at him and then scream and run. That's how we prefer our cash. That's how we prefer our cash donations. All right. Are you guys ready for your headliner for this evening? He is the co-host of the show. He is the best co-producer on the planet. And that's saying a lot, you guys. Give it up for Aaron Kominos-Smith, everybody.
Aaron.
Hello, everybody. All right. And I will say, Evil Dave already getting on the list for next week. Made sure to take care of that. And Brandon already made sure to get on the list for next week. So, wow, look at that. We've already matched our dose.
We matched our week already?
Yeah.
You guys are the best.
Thank you. I was waiting to see if Carrie mentioning only 2 people was going to guilt anyone into doing it right at this moment. Not yet. Not yet, but I do have my phone right here to see if anyone's going to be guilted into it. Can't wait for it to buzz with all those tips and donations, huh? Can't wait for that.
Everybody donate now and distract Aaron from his set.
Yeah, please do. That's a distraction I'd be happy about. The loose cable attached to your microphone causing buzzing and vibrating in the background of the show, not as exciting as my phone buzzing and vibrating, because you're sending tips. That I'll take. Mainly, I want to see my Cash App buzz. And I may be the only person who calls it the Cash App. I think I might be the only one who says that. I'm not sure. But I also call it an ATM machine. We'll call it that. I'll call it the ATM machine. So I've got my big news this week. It was my birthday on Monday. Yeah, I can finally buy alcohol legally.
All right.
Don't do it, man. Don't do it.
I've been making that joke every year on my birthday now. Around my birthday, we'll see if one day it hits. And I can really, yeah, because you get it. I'm way older. Although last year it was exactly double. This year it's 2n plus 1. That's where we're at right now. Everybody get that? That's math. We're dealing with a little math humor. I'm doing equations, single variable equations, if you can tell my age based on that. I like how Frankie was describing her studio apartment. I remember living in a studio apartment for the first couple of years of living in New York City. I was fortunate enough to not have roommates. I think my favorite part about being in a studio apartment was when a friend would come by to visit and they would say, "Oh, this is great. So give me the tour." Let's have the tour. And I'm like, do you have a stiff neck? If you're capable of rotating your head, that's the tour. That's pretty much it. It's all one room. This is it. And then my favorite second question, I guess that first thing was a statement, but the question that I enjoyed was, oh, hey, I love visiting your apartment. Where's your bathroom? I was like, well, there's only 2 doors in this apartment. So unless you plan on peeing in the hall from whence you came, it's the other door. The bathroom is behind that other door, the only one you haven't walked through yet. It just goes to another hall. You can pee in there. That's where you can have I think Mel Brooks had a joke where he said he once was in an apartment so small that if you open the door too quickly, you'd shatter the window. I think it was that, or was that you had to tuck the doorknob in bed with you. It was something along. It was some version of, you know what I mean. It's small. Okay, everybody. So I did an interesting thing. So I don't know if I've mentioned before that I've developed a fun restless leg, restless arm, restlessness in my body at night when I'm trying to sleep. That's a fun thing that nature throws at us for no reason. If you want to know what it feels like, it's when you're exhausted and really tired and you're about to fall asleep and you're just like, wow, these blankets feel great. This bed feels great. You know that feeling like when you're watching a horror movie and you know that like that axe murderer is about to jump out. You know that axe murderer is like, and you get like all tense. That's the way it feels the whole time at night. And they wanted to figure out what was going on with me, so they had me do a sleep study. Has anyone here ever done a sleep study?
No.
Yes.
Luckily, it was one that they mailed to me, so I didn't have to like go to some lab. It was just a watch. I put a watch on. I put a little thing on my finger, and then I had to attach one little electrode to my chest. And they said, if you have any hair on your chest, we suggest you shave it.
Oh no.
Let's just say I've never shaved my chest before. And the more difficult part of doing the sleep study was not trying to fall asleep with this thing taped to me, but was trying to shave my chest. And I gotta say, it is really hard to sleep when you have an incredibly irritated chest because you don't know how to shave your chest. I don't know how accurate this study was, is all I'm saying, because I was up all night, somehow both like itchy and in pain on my chest. I don't know how I could do both of that with these little red marks. I didn't shave my whole chest. It wasn't like belly button up to clavicle. Like it was just this one. Yeah, I used that razor. I had that strap of leather, and I went like this back and forth on it. It wasn't like an old-fashioned barber. I wasn't wearing a bowler as I did it. Like I used the shaver that I use on my face, and I just kind of went around here. And then they tell you to put a piece of tape on there, and I kept saying or I used the Band-Aid, and I kept seeing how big, like how wide the Band-Aid was, and I'm like, oh, that's why, and I had to shave more, and then I was like, okay, I'll shave more here, because look, I've removed Band-Aids from very hairy parts of me. That'll keep me up for weeks. All right. Like it is not. Years ago, I had to wear a heart monitor just for like a day because I had some like chest, like heart thing. And I feel like I still have bald patches in my chest hair from where they removed those monitors. I mean, I've never gone waxing, but I've gone heart monitoring, and it's practically the same thing.
Just wait.
Way more effective, by the way, if you want to keep hair off your body. Don't use whatever that wax is they use at the Brazilian places. Whatever that sticky stuff is on those monitor things, just use that and then let it sit for 24 hours, rip it off. That hair is never coming back. I got a circle like here and a circle over on this side. No, I think it has finally. It's mostly come back. That's actually the Halloween costume I'm going as, is just
Art monitor man?
I don't know. I wasn't actually sure where I was going to go with that. I just looked over at my notes and saw that I did my joke about the giant plastic skeletons from Home Depot last week, so I can't do that same Halloween joke. Why do people think that at when you're trying to tell a scary ghost story around a campfire, they take that flashlight and they just like point it up at their chin and they're just like, the story of the man with the axes. Like, why is that scary? That's not scary to like take a flashlight and be like, let me tell you the story of the man who doesn't know how to use a flashlight. Ooh. Yeah, it's not funny. That's not scary. I mean, I don't get it. All right, everybody, let's change gears. Come on, can we focus? Have you, I don't know, I wrote down the word translator. Did someone say something today? Was there a joke tonight on the show about being a translator? Did someone talk about that? I don't know. I typed that in the middle of the show and I was going to talk about something that had to do with translator and being a translator. I don't know. Does anybody remember anything? No? All right, guys, live comedy. Okay, so I feel, maybe it was something with Italian, but I don't know what exactly it was. All right, we'll do one more. Wow, it's after 9 already. We're gonna do one more joke right here. Have you noticed that the more poetic a government's language is about war, the less legitimate that regime is? Like, have you noticed that if you hear like, the rivers will run red with the blood of our enemies as they are struck down in the spelled swoop of the angels of the demon, or whatever, and they just go on, and you're like, that's a dictator for sure. But then like when the U.S. is talking about something, they're just like, we are considering having a meeting to discuss possible sanctions and a vote on the sanction. Boring. Yeah. I don't like what they're saying. This is really boring. It totally makes sense and is the right way to do it. But you know what? I'm gonna vote for the dictator. Way more interesting. I'm going with that person. I like the way they talk. It really fires me up. All right, I feel like that just got deep. That wasn't even meant to be current politics. It was like something about like the 80s that I was watching, one of those. Also, like when democratic is in the name of your country, also, it's the opposite. Okay. You guys, you have been absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. One quick push for myself. You see, I'm at Funny Aaron right there. I'm trying to push my YouTube subscribership, the number of people subscribing to me on YouTube is what I'm trying to push. If you haven't subscribed to me on YouTube, get on there right now. All right. It's youtube.com/@funnyaaron. I don't know why the ad is in there. No one else does that. It's instagram.com/funnyaaron, not the at. That's weird. But YouTube did it. Go and subscribe to me right now. I'll buy you a large popcorn if you go ahead and do that. If you don't know what I'm referencing, that means you're not paying attention to my reels on Instagram. I just made a very funny reel while walking on the street about popcorn at my birthday. So that means you also need to follow me on Instagram. So subscribe to me on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram. So much work for all of you. Carrie, it's been in my name on Zoom for the last 4 years. So everyone's had 4 years to subscribe, follow, at me, whatever it is. Just follow me in a car or on Instagram, whatever it is. Just, you should know what's going on in my life. Everybody, you are so much fun. I'm going to throw it back to Carrie to wrap us up. We've got the same virtual background, everybody.
You guys, give it up for Aaron. Aaron, I am now distracted I assumed I was following you on Instagram. I mean, on YouTube, but when I go here, it doesn't tell you.
Yeah. If you're already subscribed?
Yeah. I'm like,
If-
I'm on your page.
If you can
Oh,
click subscribe.
all right, I just did. I subscribed to you. I thought I
Oh.
had been. I'm sorry. You guys, I did it. If Carrie can do it, you can do it. She
If
figured
Carrie
it
can
out.
do it, you can look Comedy Hub, just put it in the
Carrie's-
chat.
Carrie's
Go ahead,
very
click on it right there.
Carrie's so stupid. Even stupid old Carrie can do it. But yes, I assumed I had. I'm not a good YouTube person, Aaron. I'm not. It's too many.
It's all about the algorithm.
It's all about the algorithm. You guys give it up for the algorithm and for
Boo, algorithm.
and for the comedians you saw this evening. Thank you so much for joining us. We are here every Friday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We'll be here next week. Come on back, bring a friend, and we'll see you then. It'll be November. It'll be November.
Whoa,
1st.
November.
Woo! See you in November, y'all.
Thank you, everybody. We'll hang for a few minutes.
We are gonna